Chelsa. How about a little golf? Because we were talking about that. The USGA has chimed in on Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Kevin Na, and others who have decided to play in the LIV Tour. And we didn't know what the USGA was going to decide as far as those players who are eligible to play in the U.S. Open. And we didn't know if the USGA would say, yes, you're welcome or not. They have decided, yes, those players are welcome. Because remember, the U.S. Open is not affiliated with the PGA Tour. The USGA released a statement saying, quote, we simply asked ourselves this question. Should a player who had earned his way into the 2022 U.S. Open via our published field criteria be pulled out of the field as a result of his decision to play in another event? We ultimately decided they should not. DJ, 18-1 to win the U.S. Open, won it back in 2016. Phil Mickelson and Kevin Na, both 150-1 to win the U.S. Open. Do you think this is the right call by the USGA?
Yeah, it's common sense. What planet are we living on? Like, they should be able to play at the U.S. Open. The name is the U.S. Open. It's open to the qualifiers. Like, no. Like, the fact that the PGA Tour is, slinging all this mud on these guys. Like, I get it. They don't want their competitor to draw away all of their talent. And they're clinging to that morality clause. And I get it. Like, the Saudis are not great people. But it's not the first time that an event has been played in a country where we've had some questions about the morality. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that they're going to be welcomed at the U.S. Open. It will be interesting to see the fans' reaction to some of these guys and see the thermometer of the fan base when it comes to guys joining this tour. Because according to the PGA Tour, it seems like these guys have already committed the worst of crimes. They're calling them traitors to their country. So it will be interesting to me to see if the fans are on that same wavelength, if they're going to get booed. Like, when's the last time we saw a player get booed on tour? Who's the only guy that we would boo? Like Patrick Reed? Or at the Ryder Cup, Ian Poulter? Nobody's rooting for Ian Poulter at the Ryder Cup. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see.
I think in the rankings of who you would boo on the PGA Tour, like 1 is definitely Patrick Reed, and then 2 is Bryson DeChambeau. Like 1 and 2 of the bullet, those two guys.
Right. I almost forgot about Bryson DeChambeau because hasn't he been hurt? I feel like we haven't talked about him much lately.
I don't know. I don't want to say he's disappeared, but he's been under the radar, which I think is probably good for him and his image. He's been dealing with the wrist and hand injury, so he's trying to get right before he steps back in. I will say when it comes to betting the U.S. Open, I'm not going to bet on DJ or Phil Mickelson or Kevin Na. Those odds are too long. They're not going to win it. DJ is interesting, but when it comes to welcoming these guys or not, I think they're going to be fine, especially when it comes to Phil. I know he has done some things that people aren't necessarily thrilled with, particularly with his decision to initially play on the LIV Tour and how he explained it. But ultimately, the golf public and the public in general always loves a guy looking for a second chance. And Phil Mickelson, for the entirety of his career, has always been one of the most popular players on tour. I don't think that's going to change.
Here is the argument for Dustin Johnson winning the U.S. Open. I feel like if anybody can get out of their head and not think about this, it's Dustin Johnson. He is not really known as an overthinker. I don't know if you've heard his press conferences, but he seems pretty blunt. And I don't want to say that he's stupid, but you get what I'm saying. I don't think he is the analytic type that somebody like Bryson DeChambeau, where the crowd's really going to get to him. I think DJ's pretty good at blocking that noise out. What really gets me is some of the reactions we're seeing to did you see why DJ said he was joining the tour? He said, I don't want to play golf my whole life. I want to be able to retire at an age that I want to, be with my family, and not have to worry about money. And some people are saying, oh, well, the LIV Tour is just a retirement tour, and these are guys that are giving up on competitive golf. No, it's not. They still get to play in majors.
Yeah, they'll get to come back in the majors and not the PGA Championship, and not on the regular tour, but they can still compete for majors and still have a legacy in that way. Did you see that picture of Phil Mickelson, by the way, at the press conference or at the grand opening, whatever it was, the celebration before the LIV Tour? He looked like he has aged suddenly like 20 years out of nowhere. Like he was stunned to be in front of the cameras. These last few months have not been kind to old Philly Mick.
Well, this is what happens when you dress too young for your age. Because he was wearing what? All black leather? This is,
Yep.
you look even older when you try to dress too young. Like, it would be like if I came on here and wore pigtails and like a little Oshkosh bagosh jumper. Like, I would look even older. So I
Please
think
do
that's
that.
the case there. No, I'm not wearing
Please,
overalls.
please wear an Oshkosh by gosh jumper or something that has Hello Kitty on it. Chelsea, you can do it.
I do love Hello Kitty.
Uh,
When's the last time you wore overalls?
1990 when it was cool to wear overalls, but you had one unhooked and hanging in the back. That was the style back then.
Ooh, did you wear a shirt underneath or no?
Yes, I did. Everyone knows I could never pull that off. I had my cross colors hat on. Oh, it was a wild time.